Hello, Dancing with the Stars fans. I'm Gold Derby Senior Editor Daniel Montgomery here with our contributors Jeffrey Kerr and Cordell Martin. We are going to discuss the Dancing with the Stars two-night event that just passed us, which was Soul Train Night and Hair Metal Night on Monday and Tuesday, October 7th and October 8th. And we're also going to preview the upcoming Dedications Night, which sort of feels like a variation of Most Memorable Year, the kind of sentimental night where the judges or the producers really just want to make you cry. Um, well, let's start with the main news out of the double night. It was a double elimination, another double elimination. And we lost the two older celebrities who were the bottom of the leaderboard. It really seems like these two double eliminations kind of trimmed the entire fat off the season already. So we lost Reginald Bell Johnson and Eric Roberts. What did you think about? Yeah, I was a little worried for Phaedra for a while. Like Brooks, I thought she was going to be fine because her scores on night two were so good and it moved her so far up the leaderboard. But what did you think about those two going home, Cordell?
Yeah, definitely not surprised that they both went home, but as longtime viewers of Dance with Stars, you just can never assume how things are gonna play out. So, in the back of my mind, I was preparing for possibly a shocker, with maybe Phaedra or Brooks, like we mentioned, going home, but due to Brooks' high scores, night two. Thought maybe Phaedra might just kind of fall through the cracks and get eliminated. Glad she was safe, but yeah, definitely not surprised. And I think it was time for both of them to exit the ballroom.
Yeah, I think it was probably the right time for both of them too. What did you think, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, I too wasn't surprised to see either of them go. On Soul Train Night, Reginald showed a little, he showed a little more movement, but still not enough. And, in fact, both nights, it just once again felt like Emma was really doing all the work while he was doing very little. And with Eric, okay, on Soul Train Night, he at least started to show some improvement. And I also thought him embracing his wife at the end was a nice touch. Although, night two was, well, he just waltzed through the whole thing. So given how, I guess, not great work they were doing, coupled with their lackluster judges' scores, I'm again not surprised.
But there was something arguably quite surprising at the top of the leaderboard, which was Chandler Kinney. Unsurprisingly, did very well on Soul Train Night. On Hair Metal Night, Joey Grazide actually outscored her, and not only did he outscore her for the night, he outscored her when you combined the two nights. So he ended up at the top of the judges' leaderboard outright. And Cordell, I know you were talking about how if he continues to execute, you're like just mark him down for the finals. I think you're right. I think a lot of Gold Derby users think you're right. I'm gonna talk about the updated predictions a little bit later when we talk about next week's show. But what did you think about that sort of upheaval at the top, Cordell?
Yeah, definitely not surprised. I felt that he had the momentum coming in the last couple of weeks. Thought maybe it would probably take place, another week or two down the road. But yeah, I mean, Joey's definitely gaining the momentum. Like I mentioned, he has shown his versatility as a dancer, as well as really showing the character of each dance. So I mean, with that combination, as well as we know how well the Bachelorettes have done just based on Bachelor Nation. He's definitely, pulling either first or second right now. And I will be shocked if he plays lower than that. So
What did you think, Jeffrey?
Well, oh yeah, with Chandler and Soul Train Nights, great as usual. Although the moves she handled were so impressive. Although with Joey on Hair Metal Night, yeah, he's really, we've talked about how he's been coming to his own, but yeah, he's really shaping up to really nearly securing a spot in the finals. His performance on night two especially was excellent way to conclude the week. But yeah, he's proving to be one of the stronger Bachelor alums in the ballroom.
Now, one of the interesting things about these first four eliminations, two double eliminations, is that especially with this last week where they eliminated the bottom two celebrities on the judges leaderboard, I feel like we're at a point where, other than assuming that the Bachelor Nation contestants will have that fan base based on history, besides that, we it's hard to say who's getting the viewer votes. They keep telling us, oh, a record number of people have voted this week. Is Stephen as strong as we think he is? Is Dwight as strong as we think he is? So it's hard to know who the fans are really responding to based on the current results so far. What do you think about that, Cordell?
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of like it. I think now it's just kind of open, for all of the contestants and no one is safe. So I think it just adds that bit of mystery for viewers so it's not as predictable. I mean, like I said, we mentioned about Joey, so I mean that's probably the most predictable prediction we have, but everyone else, I mean, it just is going to come down to the fan base and also the dance and how well they do each week. Like a lot of these stars cannot afford the opportunity to have an off week because that could really do them in, unfortunately, now that, those, lower tier celebrities are all gone now. So it's gonna be anyone's race towards the finals.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeffrey? Who do you think might be shaping up as a fan favorite?
Well, probably Joey, given how strong Bachelor fan base is, or no, I can also see cases made for Chandler or Steven or even or maybe Phaedra, but yeah, I mean, I guess if we are talking, Bachelor, maybe probably Jin Tran as another possibility, but yeah, if if these contestants, if there's any contestants out here who have, strong social media followings, there ought to be supportive of them throughout the competition.
Well, without further ado, let us talk about next week's dances and songs and who they're paying tribute to on Dedication Night. I will start by saying that Dedication Night will have a guest judge, Mark Ballas, three-time Mirrorball champion. One, two, three, I think that's right. And we will have a performance by Derek Huff and his wife Haley Huff, who are going to dance to uh, uh, Benson Boone's "Beautiful Things" after her health scare recently. So that will be one of those heart tugging moments, and another choreography Emmy nomination for Derek Huff, I'm sure. Um, and then you have the following dances from the celebrities. We'll go down one at a time, and we will discuss what we think of them. I will say up front, contemporary makes its debut.
Uh-oh.
Yes. And it makes its debut right up top. Well, depending on if he goes first. Alphabetically, it makes its way right up top. Super Bowl champion Danny Amendola and pro Whitney Carson will perform a contemporary to Unsteady by ex ambassadors, which will be dedicated to former NCAA head football coach Mike Leach. So that will be interesting. We all saw him shirtless on hair metal night, so we know he's got the strength to do all the lifts that Whitney is going to throw into this routine. Besides that, I wonder if he'll have like the grace for it. But yeah, I think it'll definitely be lift heavy. What do you think about that routine, Cordell?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely going to include a lot of tricks. Hopefully they don't get overboard with it. Hopefully they can find a nice balance. I think Danny still needs that breakthrough dance to really, for me, show that he's a true contender. I think he can make it far, but right now he's just kind of in the middle of the road, and I think this might be the dance to kind of, announce to everyone that don't sleep on him.
Jeffrey?
Well, I mean, I thought Danny had, his performance on Soul Train Night wasn't 100% well accomplished. It, still had some strong points, and I certainly thought he did better on hair metal night. So it should be interesting to see if, as Cordell mentioned, if Danny does get a breakthrough dance.
Then you've got The Bachelor star Joey Grazide and pro Jenna Johnson will perform a Viennese Waltz to Lose Control by Teddy Swims, which will be dedicated to Joey's fiance, Kelsey Anderson. Now, considering how well he did in hold and in frame for his tango this past week, I think Viennese Waltz, he's going to crush it. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I think it's going to be another high scoring dance for him and Jenna this week. I think he's just, as we've mentioned, is really coming into his own, embracing each dance style and really get into the character. So definitely will not be surprised to see him at the leaderboard or near the leaderboard, top of the leaderboard.
Jeffrey?
Well, I echo everything Cordell just said, although I'll also add, he's really proving to be amazing with his energy, footwork, and skill. So I'm sort of looking forward to seeing what else he's got up his sleeves.
NBA champion Dwight Howard and pro Daniela Karagat will perform a rumba to Shoot for the Stars by Dwight Howard and dedicated to his children. That will be interesting to say the least. I did not know he performed, unless he's coincidentally performing to a song performed by an entirely different Dwight Howard, which would be a hell of a coincidence. Um, Rumba is going to be interesting. It's one of those dances that's deceptively simple. Like, it's slower and the movements are more subtle. So it's something that he'll probably be able to handle, and that Danielle will be able to choreograph them through in terms of the height difference. But it's also very detailed. So when you have a slower dance, those details come into play a lot, and it's going to be a one where his technique is going to have to be really focused, and he's going to have to put in more work than he was able to in like 2 days of practice on Soul Train night, which did not go well. He's not going to be able to fudge his way through, a rumba. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I mean, as long as they put in the work and the practice, I think they'll be all right. Surprised he didn't get a contemporary. I feel like this would have been the week with the song choice and dedication to really give him a contemporary to put him back into the conversation as a contender. Um, it'll be very interesting to see how this plays well with the judges, especially with Mark being a guest judge. I feel like he's going to be very technical in terms of how he judges the stars. So I feel like this might be middle of the road performance for Dwight and Daniela. So we'll see.
Yeah, I will say that I do think that we will get a contemporary from Dwight, and it will be on Halloween night. That's my guess, because they're
Good
saving
answer.
it for
Yes.
the same way that Iman Shumpert had his breakthrough night with Daniela on Halloween night. I think they might do it then.
Yeah,
What do
just
you think,
back
Jeffrey?
that comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah, thing. Yeah.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, it should be interesting to see because, on Soul Train night, I mean, he showed some really good footwork and skills, even though the end results of the performance wasn't his best. I mean, I certainly thought he did better on hair metal night. So it should be interesting to see if he really can, step it up a notch.
And speaking of contemporary, we've got another one performed by TV star Chandler Kinney and Brandon Armstrong. They will perform a contemporary to "I Hope You Dance" by Leanne Womack and dedicated to Chandler's mother. Now here we've got a Waterworks style, Waterworks song, Waterworks dedication. If Chandler is vulnerable emotionally, which I don't think she'll have that problem. Um, I could see this being the first
Mhm.
tens dance, or if not all tens, then I can see the first 10 paddles of the season coming up on this one. I won't be surprised at all. If anything can beat a Joey Grazadeh, Viennese Waltz. I think it's a Chandler contemporary. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see their dance and their routine. To your point, I think she would be able to bring out the emotion as she's shown with her rumba. So looking forward to it. I think her and Brandon have a great partnership. And to your point, I expect to see, if not all tens, at least two or three tens come Tuesday.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, hey, as Chandler is proving to be one of the stronger contestants of the season so far, I'm certainly am looking forward to it, and I'm very curious to see how she'll pull this one off. So, I mean, hey, I think it ought to be something to watch.
Olympian rugby player Ilona Maher and pro Alan Burston will perform. We've got another rumba to "My Way" by it's not Sinatra's "My Way." It's an artist whose name I'm going to butcher. Esult, Yeult. I'm not familiar. Um, I apologize for however that was supposed to be pronounced. And it will be dedicated to Ilana's U.S. Women's National Rugby Sevens team. So not too surprising, especially coming off her Olympic bronze medal. Um, Dedicating a rumba to a rugby team, it's a little bit of a mismatch in terms of dance style to what you're paying tribute to, unless we get a very different style of rumba, which I'd like to see. That would be kind of fun. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure how she'll handle it. She needs to be really loose and move very fluidly. And she still does have a little bit of stiffness. So what do you think, Cordell?
Yes, I just did a quick Google search on the singer and the song, and this was the French singer who sung at the closing ceremonies for the,
Ah,
so it's her version of My Way, hence the Olympics tie with Ilona. So,
so I
um,
undoubtedly mispronounced it if it's what it's
Oh, I'm sure I doubt John Travolta will fare any better.
I know.
pronounced.
So I mean, now knowing, the personal tie with the Olympics and the song, I think she will probably deliver an emotional, stripped performance that we haven't seen yet. So I think this will be an opportunity for her to kind of show a different side, especially after being in jeopardy last week, well, this week of going home. I think it's going to kick her in a different gear, which tends to happen with athletes. So I think this will be an opportunity for her to have like that comeback routine and scores this week.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, she certainly showed a lot of high energy this past week, so I'm very interested in seeing what she'll do next week, especially, fittingly enough, dancing to the song from the closing night ceremony. So I'm sure that'll harken a lot of memories from the event.
Model and cover girl Brooks Nader and Gleb Savchenko will perform a salsa to Mi Gente by J Balvin and Willie William, and it will be dedicated to Brooks's sisters, which sounds like fun, but we know Gleb. So, I don't know if and we also know the producers. I don't know if the producers are going to give us another clip package of how sexy these two are together and how great their chemistry is. And, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not sure. Give her like a waltz or something like that. Just something that it's harder to do that for. Although maybe they'll do that late in the season when the showmance becomes more deep and personal. So, I don't want to give the producers any ideas. I apologize. What do you think about a salsa for them, Cordell?
Yeah, to your point, I mean, they need to switch it up before it's too late for her because I mean, it's just getting predictable week after week, and usually when it's like most memorable nights or, personal stories, whatever the case may be, once whenever there's a dance that's more of like the fun and, not like as dramatic or emotional, those couples tend to get eliminated or usually at the bottom. So hopefully this doesn't, you know, isn't a bad sign for Brooks and Gleb, but I think this would have been a perfect opportunity, like I've been saying the last couple weeks, to show a different side to her instead of just being the sexy model. But I mean, it's also to Gleb's, issues of not being able to, bring out a different side. So missed opportunity. However, it's going to be probably fun, sexy, all that good stuff. So yeah.
And she is a good dancer. I do want to see her show that versatility, which we've seen in places this season so far.
Exactly.
So I'd like to see more of it before eventually she is eliminated. If that is to come sooner rather than later, who knows? What do you think of salsa for her, Jeffrey?
Well, I agree. It'd be nice to see more variety from her, and hopefully she'll get opportunities to do that. But in any case, I do think, she really did some really good work this past week. So I'm certainly not going to complain if she continues to keep it up. So, hey, I'm certainly curious to see how this performance is going to fare.
Now, the dance that I'm most excited to see is Stephen Nedorosik is performing with Riley Arnold, an Argentine tango to Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes and dedicated to men's gymnastics. I'm excited about this routine for a few reasons. One, because Argentine tango requires a lot of control, but he can go a little bit more full out than he has before. There are a lot of tricks and lifts and stuff that are available to them in an Argentine tango that wouldn't be available to them in a regular tango. So we'll see more athletics and dedicating it to men's gymnastics. We are definitely going to see some gymnastic tricks from him, especially on the dance floor. So I'm just really excited for how yeah, want Riley to really use that as a playground to showcase Stephen, what he's good at. So what do you think, Wardell?
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be his best dance so far this season. To your point, I think now that he kind of gets an understanding of, the technical pieces that comes with Dance with Stars and different dance styles, I think this is going to just be that moment, breakout moment that we've been expecting from him to have him at the top of the leaderboard. So this might be the dance that we may see him probably number one when it's all said and done, or at least second.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, seeing how much he's been killing it so far, I'm very excited to see what he'll have coming up his sleeves next week. And it should be interesting to see, I guess, what hybrid we could get, the best of his strengths as both an Olympian and a dancer. So, hey, there's a lot to look forward to.
Now, reality royalty Phaedra Parks and pro Val Chmerkovsky will perform another rumba. It's to Because You Love Me by Celine Dion and will be dedicated to Phaedra's mother.
Mhm.
So we'll get emotion on this one too, which might help her stand out enough when you've got like I think three rumbas happening that could sort of get lost in the shuffle. Um, the emotion she'll need it because otherwise I think she is most at risk of if she doesn't improve she might be at the bottom of the leaderboard. Even with decent scores you might be at the bottom of the leaderboard at this point. um, so she'll need to really have that emotional connection to the music. What do you think, Cordell?
I agree. I think, this week was kind of a rough week for Phaedra. Just in terms of the scores, even just her clip package. I don't know, for me, especially like for um hair metal week, it was just very short. It wasn't a lot of content for some odd reason. So I just don't know what's the producer's angle with Phaedra now, but she really needs to knock it out the park, or I feel like she's gonna be the one to go home on Tuesday, unfortunately.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I hope she avoids elimination next week, especially since she really has been doing really good work. So, I mean, I hope she knocks it out of the park this one, especially for what could potentially be such a sweet moment on the show, where she's dedicating the song to her mom. So, I mean, hey, I wish her all the best of luck with this.
And finally, we've got Bachelorette Jen Tran and pro Sasha Farber. They will perform a foxtrot to The Archer by Taylor Swift and dedicated to Taylor Swift, which is the weirdest dedication. Like, you didn't have any family members that you wanted to like, or friends or acquaintances, or or like heroes in a more legendary sense. Not to take anything away from Taylor Swift. I'm not going to call her a legend at 35. I'm not going to call anyone a legend at 35. Even though she'll probably be in that bucket when we look back at her. Give her another 20 years.
Oh yeah.
Unless she's canceled by then. Who knows? Um, but yeah, the I think she'll dance it well. I think the problem is she's it's lucky she's gonna have that probably built in Bachelor Nation fan base, because I feel like this is not a dance that's going to really move a lot of people. Um, just because it is dedicated to Taylor Swift, and it doesn't sound as like it's going to be as personal, though maybe in the clip package we'll get the reason for it that will surprise us. Um, but yeah, it's odd to me, but I think it will be a good dance, and I don't think she's at risk of going home, so I think she's fine. What do you think, Wardell?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to your point, it's just a little weird just with the whole dedication of the song. But one thing I will say, Jen has definitely impressed me, especially this past week, just to see her growth from week one to now. So I think she's definitely just moving in the right direction. I think it's going to be another solid dance from her and Sasha. Um, just curious to see how it will translate to the audience, to your point, if they're gonna, you know, gravitate more towards the personal, emotional stories or, you know, to everyone. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates with the audience.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I'm curious to see what she'll bring. I mean, she's so far really brought such class, elegance, and creativity. So I am very, very curious to see what she'll bring next week, and I hope she knocks it out of the park.
And with those in mind, who are we thinking is going to be potentially eliminated right now in our Gold Derby odds, which are, the predictions are open. Make your predictions at goldderby.com every week, and you can, your predictions will sort of be factored in to determine what the odds are. But so far, Phaedra is on top of our odds for elimination, followed by Brooks Nader, and then Ilona Mar are the three who seem to be at greatest risk. Who do you think might be going home potentially, Cordell?
Ooh, definitely, unfortunately, one of those three. I think Ilona might be safe just based on this week's scare, and then with her dance coming on Tuesday. Um, I love Phaedra, but I feel like her and Val are gonna be the ones to go. Just with the way that the Housewife franchise, they really don't do well on Dancing with the Stars, and Phaedra, I feel like just hasn't really shown as much growth from last week versus her first 2 weeks. However, I mean, Brooks and Gleb, people might get sick of the showmance and, the same sexy routine. So, yeah, I could see either one, but I'm probably going to go with Phaedra, unfortunately.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, all signs still appear to be pointing in Phaedra's direction for right now. And, again, as I mentioned recently, I hope she really brings it next week to really keep her safe as possibly can, well, as safe as she possibly can. If not, well, she could be a goner sooner rather than later.
Well, let's look at who could win Dancing with the Stars at this point. Again, users at Gold Derby have made their predictions, and you can as well. And these odds shift every week depending on how they perform. And not surprisingly, they have shifted this week with Joey's strong performance. Chandler is still on top of our odds, but Joey has moved up into second place. Jen Tran is in third place. Stephen Nedorosik is actually down in fourth at the moment, though that can change by the time voting closes. Predictions close right before every show starts. Right now, I've still got Chandler to win, but I also do have Joey in second place. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I think those are the final two, just how everything's kind of shaking out. I'm right now I'm probably leaning towards Joey. I think Chandler's a great dancer. She's my favorite this season, but as we've known in history with Dancing with Stars, as it pertains especially for Black female celebrities, there's only been one that's won, and that's Amber Riley. So odds aren't really in Chandler's favor. Also, with her being a Disney star and on the younger side too, chances are she might not get the main audience vote to really get her that mirror ball, but you never know. I'm holding out hope for her, but I think right now this is probably Joey's to lose this season.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I currently have Chandler at the moment, but I do have Joey in second, and Cordell made a lot of strong points as to why, it could very well be Joey, and if he were to win this, well, he'd certainly be, again, an acceptable winner. Well, more than just an acceptable winner, given how he's really proving he's a lot better than, I guess, your average Bachelor contestant. So, hey, this is. Well, hey, this should hopefully make for one exciting race to watch.
And we will keep watching it, as will everyone watching this. If you're watching this, you're definitely watching Dancing with the Stars, or else why are you watching this? I know we're spectacular, but with that, I want to thank Jeffrey and Cordell for joining me again this week, as every week we discuss Dancing with the Stars. And I want to thank everyone for watching. As I said, go make your predictions at Gold Derby. Go come back and make those predictions every week. You can win a $100 gift card for Amazon if you win our predictions contest and are eligible every week. So prove us wrong is what we're saying. And with that, we will see you again next week.